of mind. An inspired speaker and feeds us spiritually. Our new minister lives the science of mind with integrity, has a consciousness of abundance, is authentic and unbiased. Our new minister is enthusiastic, all while being emotionally mature, committed and connected to our community, and wise in all their affairs. And that's our new minister.
I have to tell you, I got like this hit. I was tearing up. That was so good. Yeah, so the invitation is for us to really begin to see, no matter what's going on, have the feeling of coming to the church we want in our hearts. So whenever you think about High Desert Center for Spiritual Living, just begin to imagine that people are magnetically drawn here. When I was going to start a new church, I was in a Toastmasters group, and one of the Toastmasters happened to be a Baptist minister, and he had started in his living room a church, and their church owned a whole city block in Vista, California. And it was a big block. So I said, well, how'd you start? He recommended this book called Dynamic Church Planting. It's a very Christian-based book, but I gotta tell you, you can find truth everywhere, absolutely everywhere. One of the things it said that I want to share with you, just as a perspective on how to grow this church and how to really have that sense of spiritual community and connection and unity that we spoke about just now, and joy, he said, one of the things it said, there is a lot, but this is the one that really stuck in my heart, is go to the mountaintop, go to the top of someplace that looks over your community that you want to call in and pray. And I literally did that. I lived where there were hills here and there, and I couldn't figure out which one to go to, but I also did it in my mind. I reached out in my mind. I asked someone, Christian Sorensen, attracted to his community, Alice Bandy, who became the dean of their school of ministry and became a minister and a teacher, who was amazing. And at one time I asked her, how did she find out about it? Because when Christian came to that church in Encinitas, there were like 8 or 10 people. And they that was like the board that was left. And they sort of handed them the keys, said, here you go, we're glad you're here, welcome. And here's what she told me. It was really interesting. She said, I went to church. It was good, but I wasn't really going to go back. She said, then I had this experience of a Christian, like, I don't know if she was dreaming or this was when she was awake, but she said, I heard him calling me, saying, come, I have something for you. So there's an energetic we, as members of this church, can create that calls because people are hungry for this. I also invited the group here yesterday to let go of the idea that we're the best kept secret. Let's have the idea that everybody knows about Centers for Spiritual Living, about Science of Mind, about our philosophy, and that this center is here to support them, to inspire them. That is what will grow us, right? Yep. I want to say, I have a power thing here. Somewhere.
It was with the water.
It's with the water.
It's with the
Thank
water.
you.
And remember to turn it on.
Yes, ma'am. I have a quote from Ernest Holmes. I always like to go to our founder. He was an amazing man.
On
the side, I see it. Thank you. Oh. Look at that. Ready, set, go. That's our topic, by the way. Ready?
Yeah.
Set, go.
Yes.
Create the vision. So, I'm ahead of myself. I'm going to back up. So it says, what we need is a complete assurance, an inner conviction, a faith, a confidence to know that we can proceed with definite, deliberate determination, that there can be no question about the results. They will be inevitable. Would you just take that in? And then he goes on to say, keeping the goal in mind, refusing to be baffled or defeated with uplifted thought and a calm but definite purpose, we cannot fail. So this is where we want our minds to be. Have you ever had the idea that You shouldn't have too high of expectations because you know then you might be disappointed. You know, I really, part of my title of my talk is Great Expectations, because Ernest Holmes says you should have an expectancy of good, and you should have great expectations. So whenever you go there, if there's something you really, really want, please give yourself the gift of not saying, I'm not going to expect this because I might be disappointed. And the thing about us moving into really living our dreams is that we don't have to say, you know, like, let's just say, I want to meet somebody. I think a red hot rod would attract the kind of woman I want, right? And here's the thing, back of that is really the relationship you want. It's not about the red car, is it? It's about how you're going to feel when you have it. It's not something specific in the manifest world. It's the experience you will have when you draw that into your life. If you want to travel, what's the feeling you're going to have? What's the breadth and width of that wonderful experience? Whatever it is you desire, go live there. Feel as if you're already there. Feel as if our center is already full, that there's a vibrancy, people are connecting. We have activities during the week. The kind of things that came up were music, more music, more music. I love music here. It's a great thing. Youth program, having classes, book studies, things that are inspirational during the week, frequently, so that we're calling in people to different opportunities for inspiration, right? So that is what we're going to hold in our minds, yes? Now to do this, there is a culture that wants to be created here, a culture that wants to be created. This culture calls for us to be open to others, to let go of our preconceived ideas of who they are, to let go of the idea that differences would make us uncomfortable with them. And so, when we listen to the strings of our own soul and to others, and we suspend our perceptions, our judgments, and interpretations, we make space for the unexpected. We make space for the dream, really. That's a quote from Bruce Sanglin. Another slide for you. Oh, I already did that. Oh, here we go. When we listen from an urge to create increased unity, differentiation, and diversity. We welcome that because that diversity is actually enriching us. Increased awareness, deep patience, only love. We help people find their yes. We're stepping into this kind of a culture in order to have what we want in spiritual community. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Oh, good, I'm so glad. Good. Ernest says, no one can be happy or enjoy the greatest fulfillment in life until he has learned that most people are endeavoring to do their best with what they have. Let's just be in that place. Expecting the best, accepting the best. When we are able to reach beyond the indifference and coldness of people, have you ever experienced people that seem to be kind of have a wall up? Sometimes we need to extend ourselves. There are reasons we put walls up, aren't there? And we need to create safety so that those walls can fall away. In other words, we need to look at people, see them through the eyes of love, really. That's where we're going here. So reach beyond the indifference and coldness of people, beyond all intolerance and unkindness. And when we do, we find that divine center of love, which is forever established in every person. It is there. And so let's just start looking for it. I was in a Course in Miracles group, and there was an opportunity to share issues that were going on in your life, and there was a little process that someone facilitated, asking questions about it, describe the situation. What are you feeling about it? What's your perspective? But there was a question that just grabbed me. It's the only question I remember. There were probably 6 better questions than I just said. But the one at the end just got me. It was, how are you denying the other or yourself love? Boy, oh boy. So when there's something that's uncomfortable, you feel a little like even judged or judging or disconnected in any way, separate. Go to that place of asking, am I denying myself love? And am I denying love to the other? Because love is the most amazing thing. One time, my husband and I, years and years ago, remember, we've been together 33 years now, we were really just furious, both of us. And we were standing arguing. And all of a sudden, a miracle happened for me. It's like the peace of God descended upon my heart. And I knew that we loved each other. And that what it was we were having a difference about meant was immaterial. It meant nothing. It was profound. And I've never reached that point of frustration because there's always that. And it's so much bigger and so much more important than anything else, our differences, you know. And that transformed our relationship. And it was a divine thing. I didn't ask for it. I did not expect it. I was in my fury, you know. And boom, the peace of God was mine. Let's go there. In fact, invite that experience whenever you're not feeling great about something. There's a story that Catherine Ponder talks about in one of her books. It's about a woman who was depressed, and she was on the brink of a nervous breakdown because her oldest son, she had all these things going on. Her oldest son was struggling to stay in college. She had a 12-year-old that was under treatment because he had outbursts of anger. Her young daughter was beginning to act all this discord. Her husband was depressed and not doing well at all. And she herself was having health challenges. Then she heard about the power of divine love to heal through Catherine Ponder's books. And so she bought herself a notebook, and every time she thought about one of the situations, you know, when you think about the things that are problems in your life, you get this anxiety, you get these feelings, right? Because your thoughts are going there. And I'll tell you what, that's the worst thing you can do is stay in that place of negativity. But what she did in her notebook is she actually wrote down the situation, and then she wrote this affirmation. I behold you with the eyes of love, and I glory in your perfection. I behold you with the eyes of love, and I glory in your perfection. And she kept doing this practice of love and glory. I should have put that on a slide. She says, this is a quote from her, the results were almost unbelievable. My husband was at a standstill when I began using the power of love on our affairs 6 weeks ago. She was persistent. She didn't just do it for a day, right? Recently, he got his hair cut and turned out some work on his own without a word of prodding from me. Our son in college received a refund on income tax, and he got a job managing a baseball team, so his tuition will be paid for. Our middle son has gone for several weeks now without displaying violent behavior. His disposition has greatly improved. Our daughter is getting along better with her friends and teachers. And the woman's health challenges were clearing up, and she got a part-time job. It's what we think and feel is so powerful in creating our world experience, and we can get caught up in the stuff in the outer world and the problems that are there, and we have the power to shift that. And so she used it. It's an amazing thing. I just have this nice little thing that I'm going to read to you. It says, love arises above the little human differences. It finds a point of reconciliation with everyone. It creates tolerance and human understanding, without which we become divided against ourselves and unconsciously filled with criticism, condemnation, and false judgment. You know, probably some of you know this is my favorite quote about love. I have more than one probably, but Emmett Fox writes, there is no difficulty. I want you to just kind of go in and feel this. There is no difficulty that enough love will not conquer. No disease that enough love will not heal. Get that? No door that enough love will not open. No gulf that enough love will not bridge. No wall that enough love will not throw down. No sin that enough love will not redeem. And remember, sin, the word in the Bible just means It's an archery term that means to miss the mark. It's no mistake that enough love will not redeem. It makes no difference how deeply seated may be the trouble, how great the mistake, how a sufficient realization of love will dissolve it all. If only you could love enough, you would be the happiest and most powerful being in the world. Amen. One of the things about really inviting this newness into our community and the new minister is in creating that culture that we begin to live as a presence of love and have an adventure of becoming whatever's next. Just being so open that amazing things happen in our life, right? We want to live a zesty life. So in addition to seeing what's happening here, invite the idea that I'm on the adventure of life. I'm embracing all my heart's desires, and there's a zest. People can see that energy. I was in a practitioner class, and one of the women said, I like people who have ping. So you probably have ping. Show your ping. Live your ping. Be the presence of ping. Joy. Express it. People can feel that. And that will magnetically bring people here, right? Yes, absolutely. One other thing is, sometimes we get triggered. You know, I've talked about trying to remove our buttons so we don't get reactive to things. What happens when we get really triggered is that the limbic brain, the old brain, kicks in first, and it floods us with those chemicals, the fight or flight chemicals, before our logical brain gets to kick in. But we're already kind of hyped up, right? You ever had that experience? I was talking about the power of thought yesterday, because something happens, and I have a thought about it, and then I have an emotional reaction to it, and that creates my experience of it. I'm going to tell the story again because they already heard it. So early in our relationship, my husband didn't come home from work, and my thought was, what's he doing? Is he with another woman? I was very insecure. Is he going to the bar? What's he doing? My second husband, no, my first husband, one of those husbands, always went and had a beer after work, you know, and I didn't know how soon he'd come home, and I had 3 little kids, and I wanted to come right home. My third husband didn't do that, so when he didn't come home, I was starting to worry. And all my thoughts created this, you know, emotional response, which created my experience of him not coming home. Now, what if I'd have thought, he's probably stopping to buy flowers or ice cream? No, it would have completely changed that. While I waited, I would have been in an altered state of happiness instead of what I ended up having. So the invitation is to be awake to that. And now we're talking about the fact that if there's something that reacts in us, there's also a physiological gut response sometimes before our brain starts to process those thoughts. And the key to really beginning to be on top of that and manage that is immediately self-talk to the positive, but also meditation, the practice of being still, being really grounded in spirit, will transform us into a place where those responses don't physiologically rush through our bodies. We get so filled up with who we truly are as a presence of the divine, as the light on the planet, as the shining one who is pure love, and knows that they can have whatever their heart desires. We get so filled up. We live and move and have our being in that awareness, in that consciousness. And so we don't have those triggers anymore. They just kind of go away. We don't have to manage that anymore. That's the secret. That's the culture we want to create here, is where we all are so grounded. Nobody can bug us. We don't care what they believe. We don't even care how they show up. We're here to love them and bless them on their own spiritual journey. That is what we're here for. And so I want to close and invite you, if you wish, to close your eyes and listen to this. Take this in. The person next to you is the greatest miracle and the greatest mystery you'll ever meet. The person next to you is a testament to God's love of mankind, of humankind. The person next to you is an inexhaustible reservoir of possibility, with possibilities which have never been touched off. Sees things with dread and desire. Smiles and frowns, laughs, laughter and tears, fears and hopes, all struggling to find expression. The person next to you believes in something, stands for something, counts for something, labors for something, waits for something. The person next to you has problems and fears and often doesn't feel good about it, is often undecided or disorganized, and painfully close to chaos, but endowed with great toughness, and in the face of adversity is able to survive the most unbelievable difficulties and prosper. The person next to you can live with you, and not just alongside, can live not only for self, but also for you, can comfort, encounter, and understand you, if that is what you want, and in return is to be understood also. The person next to you can never be fully controlled, nor should be, can never be fully understood. And that person is more than any description or explanation or label. Explanation or label. That person next to you is every person in this room. The person next to you is a very special person who has made a difference in your life and who inspires and encourages you. The divine we look for elsewhere can be found in each other. And the person next to you is you. And so it is.
So it is.
So let's just turn within as we close this part of our service. Just opening to that. To who we are, which is magnificent just the way we are. No need for perfection. We are the presence of the divine with all its variety. Infinite variety. And so I take a moment to just invite the highest vision for this community. Grounded in the truth we know, we see people magnetically being drawn here to what is offered, and a minister who is all the things we dream of. Great teacher, speaker, comfortable in their skin. Just really able to connect with each person here. Inspired, creative, loving, and kind. Who can stand in the middle of anything and know the highest truth. Who is a spiritual guide and knows their own wholeness. Is welcoming and helps to lead this church in shared leadership with all the many people who volunteer and step up and help create what is yet to be. So right now we live in that vision. We see the dynamic activity here, the great music, the choir, the connection, the love that abounds in our community. And so knowing this is absolutely already in manifestation, it is coming true, it is in the works, in the divine, I can with a grateful heart let go and let God. And so it is. So it is. Praise God. Thank you all. So now it is our giving time. You know, this is the time when we really take a moment to be grateful for our community. And there are many ways to give. We are not passing a basket. We do have a basket at the back of the room. As you leave, you're welcome to put any donation contribution in there. Your gifts make this possible. They help pay the new minister that's coming in, but really it's about creating wholeness on the planet Earth and making a difference in our own lives and the community. So we take a moment to be grateful for that and see that we live in an abundant universe, right? There are many ways to give besides the basket at the back. We have an app called Give Plus that you can use on your smartphone or tablet. You also can visit our website and look for how to donate there. And now I'm going to ask you to please join me in reading aloud our declaration of affirmative giving. As you think about your gift, take a moment to think about your generous heart, that you are creating the flow of abundance. As you think about your gift, let's say this together. It's in your program on the left side. Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless. It is evidence of my conviction that God is the source and substance of my supply. I joyously contribute to the vision of this spiritual center, knowing that it returns to me multiplied, abundant. And now, Chris will
God is my soul. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Joy. Joy is my source. Joy is my power. Joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Joy gives me everything I need. Peace. Peace is my source. Peace is my power. Peace gives me everything I need. Even my thanks for all my blessings. Peace gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need.
So just take a moment and think about your generosity and your gift. And we're going to take a moment to bless these gifts as we recognize the overflowing abundance of life itself, knowing that these gifts go forth, touching lives, bringing healing and wholeness to our world. And so it is.
So it is.
And now I'd like to invite our practitioners to come up on stage with me. You know, our practitioners are amazing. They studied for 4 years or more to become licensed to provide spiritual support to you. So they are the beloved. There is a prayer request box in the garden room. It's under the picture of Ernest Holmes. You know, take some time and fill out a prayer request today. Or see one of them. They'll just be wandering around, look for this beautiful purple scroll, and you can walk up and say, hey, I'd like a 1-minute miracle. This is happening in my life. Would you do something, you know, say a word of truth to me so that can be brought in, something wonderful, release, something not working? Come talk to one of them. They're amazing. I love working with you guys, just so you know. Alrighty, so now, I think we're gonna read the affirmation of the day. It's on the pink slip at the top. Ooh, I like this one. We're gonna read it 3 times. Ready? I have a calm and confident expectancy of good. I have a calm and confident expectancy of good. I have a calm and confident expectancy of good. Woo! And now for a benediction, if you'll just repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It is this thing called love.
It is this thing called love.
Love is in my heart.
Love is in my heart.
Love is in my mind.
Love is in my mind.
Love is in all my affairs.
Love is in all my affairs.
I am the presence of love.
I am the presence of love.
And I go forth in joy.
And I go forth in joy.
And so it is.
And so it is.
And Chris will close us with some fabulous music. So dance your way out and in.
I can't help it. God is on the same. I can't help it. God is on the same. And you feel so good, I can hit anything. I can't help it. God is on the same.
right after this service, right here in this room. All are welcome.